Here we go, ready to learn something new. Welcome to today's video. So get ready to learn something useful. So I'm Mr. Ray. There's my social media. Move on. So today we are doing English. Doesn't necessarily just relate to English literature, though generally it is anything in the humanities, anything where you have to argue a point. So basically, those are my social media at the top. This can help you in a range of subjects. Speaking of which, we've got videos from many other subjects. Check out my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for notifications when new videos are up. I do put them up regularly. If you want to spread the love or give some kudos, check out my Patreon. All right, let's move on. So, criticizing literature, which is what you do in English. Because basically, if you go to a normal English speaking school, so if the language of instruction is English, whether you be in an English speaking country or say an American school overseas, for example, well, now you need to learn how to criticize things. What we mean by that is to form an opinion. So here's a text I made. If you've seen it, it's with the other videos. You can check them out on alliteration and assonance as well as metaphor and simile. So figurative language. Here's just the story. Good text helps me avoid copyright. He waited in high anticipation for his fish, wondering when his lunch would come. He felt very weary, for he had skipped lunch. Out of desperation, he had used his last green gummy worm for bait. He was as hungry as a wild beast. He sat silently, somehow feeling strangely anxious, yet hopeful that he would catch his fish. He was a lion waiting for his prey, dangling it as the fish darted around like a laser. He sat patiently as the sunlight glistened in the sky, providing him rays of hope as the birds flew by. So, when answering a question or criticizing literature, which is what you do in English, you need to back up your points. So just like in court, if you've ever been to court before, heaven forbid, you need evidence that can be used to prove a point, and the same goes here. You can't just say your opinion blindly. Also, without reference to the text, you're just talking gobbledygook balderdash. So what evidence do you have? You have the vast amount of literary devices available, for example, alliteration, assonance, symbolism, metaphor, figurative language, and many, many, many more. That said, if you can link your analysis back to the text and come up with some solid points and arguments, this is what's going to get you marks. Now, if we're looking at different subjects, so for example, if you're studying business or commerce or economics, maybe you reference the business or the case study. If you're doing history, then for example, you can relate it back to the historical person or the event and so forth. Keep it relevant. Refer to your source material. Anyone can quote a quote and list a literary technique. Analysis and criticism, which is well thought, that's something smart people do, and the smarter you are, the more you put. And of course, by more, I mean more quality, not just more nonsense. Now with that, analysis is what meat is to cheeseburger. The better your meat patty, the better your burger. The better your analysis, the better your essay response. And this is what separates good analysis from mediocre, not so good answers. It's also what gives selective kids their edge. When I've taught at the selective schools unit, and I've taught in a couple, I'm also a graduate of one. Basically, we get on with the higher order thinking. So yeah, not just the lower order list and remember, actual analysis. We're climbing up there. We need to push it into that to get the top marks. So example question, what can we tell about the man fishing? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Uh, he's catching a fish. Oh, he's fishing to catch a fish for lunch. See, that's how dumb that answer is. I couldn't even read it right. Yes, this is an answer, but it lacks depth. Doesn't reference the test or the source material at all. No reference to that whole text up there. Maybe, well, yeah, kind of, but no quotes per se. So the man feels ready to catch a fish as he takes on the sea, showing his manhood, a reflection on gender roles which are prescribed to men in a post-colonial setting. This is an answer, but it's long and convoluted. And this answer goes nowhere. It doesn't reference any techniques, and it doesn't quote the text at all. In short, this is just, that won't cut it. This is what gives English a bad name. So whenever you're like, Miss, the curtain's blue because it's blue, not because of some existential crisis, it's crap like this that I just can't stand for. And like, I don't blame you. But we can do some magic, and that's what you're here to learn. So let's look at this response. I've blacked it out. Suspense is probably killing you. There's a lot we can tell about the man fishing. Firstly, we can tell that he's excited yet weary, and he has the confidence to catch the fish. This is evident with the use of alliteration, in where the line, he had felt weary for he had skipped lunch, repeats the H sound, bringing to our attention the fact that he was anxious about the possibility of not getting lunch. Furthermore, his hunger is highlighted by the repeated use of metaphor and similes, like he was as hungry as a wild beast, and it was a lion waiting for his prey. This, in turn, effectively creates the imagery of a man desperate to prove his manhood in the struggle against the battle to stay alive in a cruel postmodern world, as the parallels between a man fishing are made apparent through likening him to an animal hunting in the wild, and struggles which are apparent when desperation strikes. Oh, that's just great. Really? Here's the proof. So it answers the question. That's our thesis here, or like our main sentence. But like, we got to add more in it. Techniques, I'm just going to box them up. Alliteration, repetition. I didn't write the word repetition, but repeated, like that's what's implied. Metaphor, similes, bang, imagery, fantastic. Reference the text, that's what you've put in the orange, that's just lined up now. So like my quotes, like evidence, kind of what you need like in court to prove your point. This time you're trying to prove your point by referencing the text. It's also proof you've read it and proof you know the content. Again, text, we don't necessarily mean just words, we could mean film, song lyrics, poems, speech. If it's another subject like business or economics, and you can check my videos on those subjects too after, you'd be looking at your case studies or your companies. If you're doing history, for example, your personality or your event, that kind of jazz. And how deep analysis is showing deep thought. This is the green one. This is where the payout comes. The more you write, and as long as it's coherent and answering the question, the more you get. How do I know you know? Well, if you've got, like, in this case, 3.5 lines worth, well, about 3 lines, yeah, worth of material, that's pretty solid. And you got your linking sentence at the end. I've just boxed it in blue just for coherence. And yeah, compare with our answer before. He's fishing to catch a fish for lunch. Which do you think is better? Pretty obvious. If you need help, look on the bottom half of the screen. So, what can you tell about the man fishing? To be honest, you can pretty much say anything you want. Your opinion is your opinion. So long as you can logically connect your answer to the question, have a quote that lists a technique, and provide analysis, then your answer stops being gobbledygook bull hockey and instead magically becomes potentially a deep, well thought out, existentially influenced, amazing response. Look at that noun group. It's cooked. So a good essay, speaking of cooked, we are the cooks for like really good burgers. So let's just go here first. Your intro tells us your stance, your key arguments in your thesis, in this case 3, and what text you'll be referencing. So for example, tell me what you're writing about. First, burger's already up, and that's for argument 1. That's your first point. You get that from your intro. That's your thesis. Argument 2. So that's your second point. And argument 3, your third point. And then you got a conclusion. That's your plate. You wrap up your whole essay. Now with that one, your conclusion is more or less your intro in past tense. If you're typing, that's a little bit of a hack. Copy your intro, paste it down the bottom. But you got to tweak it. You cannot just put it into past tense. Also, do not include anything new in your conclusion that should have been done in the body. For example, in the plate thing, basically, you don't have a meat patty as your plate. or you shouldn't. Okay, a good burger for a good paragraph. So here's my really good burger. We are chefs. We are gonna make essays that are cooked just right. Top bun, that's your intro sentence. This is your thesis. You gotta answer the question or the key point which introduces us to the rest of your paragraph. Sauce, that's your elaboration. Tell me more about your paragraph, and that's what it's going to give your paragraph its unique flavor per se. So like just like when you choose a burger, if you're going to have it with mustard and ketchup or you're going to have it with Thousand Island dressing. Did I say that right? No. Well, like, you know what I mean? Your burger could drastically change in flavor based on the sauce. Moving on, salad. Yeah, it's a bit annoying, but you got to do it. The technique. That's the strategy. That introduces us to the proof. Now we got your cheese. What's a cheeseburger without cheese? A burger, or in McDonald's case, this isn't product placement, by the way, it's just a hamburger. We're doing cheeseburgers. So the proof itself, the quote, so it's the book, the magazine, the event, the stat, the case study, etc. And then that's your patty. That's your analysis. This is what makes or breaks your essay. This is proof you can think. How do I know you know? Make sure that it answers the question, your analysis, your take on the topic, your 2 cents is crucial. And then we wrap it up with the bottom bun. So that's the wrap up the paragraph. Now you can either take us to the conclusion if that's your last argument, or take us to the next paragraph. So here is where we move up Bloom's taxonomy. If you don't know about it, maybe you should check it up. Feel free to Google it. Basically, long story short, anyone can list and do that stuff. So for example, this one, so I'm just going to highlight it here. The technique and putting the quote. This is low order thinking. Anyone can copy. Monkeys can copy. You're not a monkey. I hope not. Here is what makes you a genius. So put some big thought into the patty. Just like that, it makes or breaks a burger. This makes or breaks your essay too. Don't want to make it too fat though, unless you can't eat it. Or in this essay case, won't read it. Probably won't be bothered to read it if it's too long. But if it's like really good, I guess you can't have too much of a good thing. A good burger is there. Not so good burgers. Here, not enough analysis. Not enough meat. You kidding me? This one, no last sentence. Imagine if your burger came without a bottom bun. You'd be like, what the heck is going on here? Here, there's no elaboration on the thesis. So yeah, like a burger without sauce, maybe that just becomes like a beef patty sandwich. Oh, this is the worst of all. You've been ripped off. No analysis at all. Horrible, horrible burger there. I'm just not going to accept that. It's trash. It's garbage. Put it away. Get it away. We want something like the cooked burger. Alrighty, so good essay. Again, you got your intro, paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3. So in summary, what'd you learn today? If someone asks you that, please have an answer. Don't waste a taxpayer dollar if you're a public school student. Here we go. Just wrapping things up. Remember, anyone can copy down quotes. It isn't hard to list techniques either. We need to move up Bloom's taxonomy. That's why the selective schools are killing it. You've got the potential to reach there too. So where you can really get marks is your analysis. Answer the question properly. And that's what separates a normal response from a killer essay. Keep it coherent and don't add anything new to the conclusion. Your intro says what you'll do, and your conclusion is more or less your intro in past tense. Just add a bit more information regarding what you've put in your essay, not new information as in, oh, by the way, I forgot to put this in the body paragraph. I'm going to chuck this in. Anyway, thanks for your watching and your support. Please subscribe and check out my other videos. Spread the word. Tell your classmates, friends, colleagues if you're a teacher. And check out my Patreon to spread out the kudos and love. Watching the ads also helps too, as you know. So if you haven't used ad blocker, if you haven't skipped it, if you've watched the minimum amount or clicked the content and bought something sweet, thanks. Also, special shout out will go to Miss Bull. She actually is the one that helped me. So Tuola, thanks a lot for checking this out from the very first day. And Karen Yeager, so she's from University of New South Wales, a lecturer there, and she also teaches in high school. So with that one, she really helped me be passionate about English because, like, I came from ESL and look at me here. All right, that brings me to the end. Remember, study hard for a bright future. We'll catch you next time. See ya. Oh, and yeah, forgot Mr. Nair, my English teacher ESL teacher throughout high school. He was pretty rad. See ya.